The civil servants, they've had a day off as well, haven't they?
They have, and about an hour ago we saw 3 different unions coming here to deliver a petition to Number 10, which is essentially calling on the government to drop its anti-strike legislation. All 3 of those union representatives called it spiteful legislation, which takes away all of their leverage, takes away their negotiating power. This is exactly what the government has been dreading, a day of coordinated strike action. We think that 500,000, up to 500,000 public sector workers walked out today. Now, you mentioned civil servants. There were 100,000 civil servants striking today across all different government departments, across 124 different government organisations. What they are demanding is a 10% pay rise. They've been offered a 2% pay rise, but the government is saying that that alone, when you think of all the other public sector strikes that are going on at the same time, acquiescing to the civil servants' demand would add up to £2.6 billion. Now, that is the entire cost of the levelling up fund that was announced last April. So this is exactly what the government's been dreading, because it makes it harder for them to give in to one union and not another. And we know that public sympathy is not the same across the board. Public sympathy for teachers is actually quite high. Public sympathy for train drivers is quite low. So what the government was hoping is that it could negotiate with one union more harshly than with another. But with this sort of coordinated strike action, that becomes more and more difficult when you've got them coming together and protesting together against the minimum level service legislation which the government is seeing through. It makes it more difficult to agree different deals across different sectors.
No, indeed. Olivia, I'm just going to stick with you for one quick one, if you'll let me, please. You are a political animal. You're always there in the cut and thrust of Westminster, etc. We played a clip a little bit earlier on from a civil servant who was saying that, as far as she was aware anyway, several civil servants now are saying they're going to have to go to food banks. They're one paycheck away from homelessness. Look, I've had a lot of emails in to saying that people don't quite buy it. I mean, are things really that bleak in the civil service, Olivia?
Well, I can't speak on behalf of the civil servant who claimed that her colleagues have gone to food banks. That may or may not be factually accurate. But what I can say is that they are not happy. We saw 85% of civil servants voting for this strike, and we're expecting to see fast streamers who belong to a different union, the FDA union, expecting to go on strike next week. That said, this strike action wasn't agreed across all departments. HMRC, for example, are not walking out, and nor are, I'm pretty sure it's the Foreign Office. So it's not a universal opinion. That lady who you spoke to earlier, who believed that pretty much all civil servants are in huge financial difficulty, that's certainly not the case, because in some departments they're struggling to reach the 50% threshold for strike action. It differs across the board.